What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dom and Pop DC Sports Talk Plus podcast. This week, we're going to be recapping a little bit of last week, but mostly preparing and getting ready for the Tennessee Titans Week 5. We'll talk all about the NFL Week 4, and we'll also preview what's coming up, bada bets, and stay tuned towards the end because there might be an old segment coming back a little bit. You guys will just have to wait and see what it is, but yeah, check it out. All right, Pop, how you doing?
Doing good. Ready to roll.
Ready to roll indeed.
We're gonna have a little fun this episode, lighten things up a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna try and keep it loose. We could and we have gone around in circles, both on and off mic, plenty about the struggles of this football team.
We may or may not be re-recording the pod because we went off the rails a little bit. Rumor has it.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
We went down for about 20 minutes on everything that we said we weren't going to talk about. And then at a certain point, we looked up and we said, what the hell are we doing? This is completely lost. So, yeah, we're back at it again. Voices nice, ready, warmed up, going to get to it. So we're going to start. I don't want to talk too much about the Dallas game. I kind of want to focus more on, we're on to Cincinnati, as we've been saying. We're on to Tennessee.
Current state of the team and, what we think is going to happen in the Tennessee game.
Yeah,
it's like it needs to happen.
If you want to talk about the Dallas game, you're going to have to get into like season-long stuff, and it's just not worth it at this point. We've talked about everything. You guys have heard it. So let's get into what we need to do going into Tennessee. Before we get into exactly what we need to do, I'm just going to rattle off a couple quick headlines. Tyler Larson could possibly be back this week, and Brian Robinson could also potentially be back. So that's two boosts for the offense. And now we got to go in the other direction. Sam Cosmi dealing with a hand injury, our starting right tackle, obviously drafted last year. So that's a bit of a concern. And obviously it looks like Sadiq Charles is going to be starting ahead of Trey Turner. So, if you like watching half decent football, that's a good thing. So it's yes, Pop, what kind of stands out to you out of that? And how are you feeling about the changes that could potentially be getting made?
Well, Cosmi's been, just hasn't played really well. And I think some of it's just because he's been beat up and injured. So, I hate to hear about the hand injury, but,
yeah,
maybe him getting right would be a good thing. I think Lucas is a solid backup. He's put in some good time for us. Does make us very, very thin at the position, which is, can't afford too many more injuries. Larson coming back, versatile guy, could play either guard or center. So that's good. I think that's definitely going to help. And, I think they'll probably need to ease B-Rob in. I don't know if, even if he's healthy, does he get the start? I'm not sure, but, great to have him back and on his way. And I think establishing the running game is going to be, in part of getting things right. Ron's really been harping on that. So, and then we're going to lose Dotson for a couple of games too. So that's
I
great.
forgot about that. That's not great
that's
either.
Not great.
But
yeah,
unfortunately, our passing attack hasn't quite shown enough to say that we can really spread the ball around and feed all three of these receivers anyways. So, maybe we can transition that into a little bit. We did see some pretty interesting quotes out of Ron in regards to, being open to making some drastic changes. And that is pretty interesting stuff. Maybe he views the benching of Trey Turner as a drastic change. I don't. I view it as a common sense move for a guy that should have never been on the team in the first place. This was a late summer addition, and just has been horrible. Consistently didn't play at all during training camp. But maybe he means some other things. Maybe he means William Jackson. Maybe could he mean Carson Wentz? I don't know. Pop, what do you think?
I think that I don't think he's there yet, but I read into, when somebody asked, "Are you willing to make big changes or drastic changes?" and he says yes. I think that even at quarterback is what I read between the lines there. I don't think they're there yet, But JP Finley brings us up a lot. 28 million. You say, oh man, that's a lot of money. They have cap room. They could have signed more guys. They
Yeah.
decided not to for whatever reason. I don't think they're as strapped because of Carson's contract as people make it out to be. It's just an easy headline, but they're only really tied into him for 1 year.
Yeah.
And I think that I still hope he turns it around. And we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But I've got an interesting question to ask you about that. But
Go ahead.
I think that he'd be willing to pull that ripcord a lot faster than we might think, because I think
Yeah.
he realizes that it's a code red game, and
Yeah.
it's a code red situation. Nobody wants this season to devolve into a 4 or 5 win year. No, and
Yeah.
I think that Ron will act in desperation if he needs to try to turn things around. Now, will he be able to? I'm not sure. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I don't get as excited as a lot of people might about the idea of Taylor Heineke being our starting quarterback. Right. That doesn't really excite me very much. So, and
Yeah.
nor do I think that that's going to be an answer to our problems. But
Yeah. I'm
interesting.
totally with you. It is interesting there. I would like to see, for me, it's kind of like Ron took a very different tone in his press this week, and it's kind of very like, you know, he's actually showing that he's not happy with the way things have been going. He's taking some accountability, saying some changes need to be made. It might be a little too late for me. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. I need to think about it a bit more. But for me, it's like, they should have been feeling that way after year two when you only won 7 games. It's not good enough to be mediocre for the third time. Not even mediocre,
Yeah,
just
but
be bad.
who's to say he doesn't, right? I mean, I think the thing is, like, people press conference are press conferences, right?
That's
He's
fair.
obviously straddling that line between what do I want to say or what do I don't want to say. And
That's
people
fair.
pick everything apart, right? If a coach calls a player out, we get on top of him for doing that. If a coach doesn't say much, we say, "Oh, look at him. He's passive. He doesn't care." I
Yeah.
mean, I think he's a passionate guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's happy about being 1-3. I think he's probably as worried or nervous about the season going down the toilet as any of us as fans. The guy wants to win.
Of
Those
course.
coaches want to win. Everybody in that building wants to win, and they feel the pressure from that. And whether he's making the right decisions or putting his players in the best position to win is another discussion. And I think we've more than covered that ground
Yeah.
up to this point. I mean, I like to see him get a little fired up. He dropped an F bomb, he dropped an S bomb. He said he clearly understands they need to do better. That's the kind of accountability that maybe we didn't get out of him, you know, a couple of games back that we seem to be getting out of him now. And,
Yeah.
John Allen was on the radio today, and, he talked about how much he admires Coach Rivera and what a great leader he is. And, he feels like it's more on the players and the coaches. So, we'll see moving forward. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all going to be about results. You
Yep.
could talk all you want about it. They need to do this, that, or the other. I think he said it. I believe it. They're a better team than what they've showed, right? But it's hard to overcome poor quarterback play as a
Yeah.
team. And we talked about that last season. If you're a decent team, you got a decent roster. I mean, there's some things to feel good about this team. I still think offensive weapons. I think you could feel really good about. I think that the two defensive tackles are playing out of their mind. You
Yeah.
know, if you know refs maybe saw a holding or two, or there wasn't holding. Sweat may have gotten a couple of sacks. He was putting pressure on. So, I think there's some things to like about the team. But yeah, I mean, it's overcoming an offense that doesn't score and quarterback play, whether you want to blame the O line for the quarterback play or the quarterback for the quarterback play,
Yeah.
I don't know. But overcoming that is very difficult. So that's the
Well,
question for you. Like, in the spirit of like the current state of the team, right? What percentage of the issues do you do you put on the offense struggles, if percentage you put on Carson, the O line, or the play calling? How do
Yeah.
you divide up that? If it's 100%, how do you divide up that 100%?
So, full disclosure, we already told each other our percentages, so I get the chance to readjust
You
mine
can change it. You can
based
change
off of Pop's feeling. Well, I kind of not a math guy, as we've already covered. So
it.
I started off
You're
and
an artist. That's all
I
right.
said
That's all right.
with my heart, it was 45% wins is what I said at first, thinking that was like an overwhelmingly high percent, and then I realized that leaves 25 and 30%, which is not that's not nearly enough
Not enough.
blame on Wentz. So I'll probably go. I'll give it 60 on Wentz, and then I'll divide the remaining 40 up evenly between the offensive line and Scott Turner. So, or yeah, we're using play calling, but coaching as a whole, I'd say. So 60,
Yeah,
20, 20.
I'd adjust that a little bit because I do think if the offensive line was playing better and protecting Wentz better, he would be performing better.
Sure.
So we can't totally erase that. So I think I'll stick with my original, which was 50, 30, 20.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 50 Wentz. I do think he's a big part of the blame because, a quarterback has to be able to adapt to the situation better than he's adapting to it. And
Yeah.
his lack of escapability, his lack of being able to sense the pressure, that's, bothersome. I think the O-line play has not been good. You have to acknowledge that. And yeah, we have been unhappy with the play calling, but I think to a certain degree, there's a level of the coaches thinking that the players that are in there can make the plays, that Wentz can make the plays that they're calling for him. And I
Yeah.
don't think they've expected him to perform as poorly as he did, or maybe the line to perform as poorly. A bit of stubbornness there. I think they realize now that maybe they got to build from the ground up, literally, run the ball. Then you can play action, get the ball to your playmakers in space and some quick game stuff, and then you can build from there. Then maybe you give yourself more time to throw
Yeah.
and you get the ball down the field. And in fairness, to try to hope that it's different. It's the first time that he's been in a different offense with a different, and he's with a brand new group of players again. But it's the first time he's been in a different offense his entire career. So maybe there is a feeling out period. Maybe there's an adapt. They're adapting, and maybe we will see improvement as we go. I hope so.
It's an
I hope so.
optimistic way to look at it. So, just one more quick thing before we get into our keys and start focusing in on the Titans. Speaking of optimism, let's get into some pessimism. Is this a code red game? Do you think? Do you think is this the nuclear game for you this season?
Again, being a math guy, 1-4 is not the end of a season. But if you do the math and you do the odds, you have a history, starting 1-4 and making a playoff run after that is going to be really difficult. So
Yeah.
I think it is. I think there's probably degrees of code red. If it's 1 to 10 on the scale and you're getting into the red
Yeah,
right
give
around
me a panic
7,
meter. Give me a panic
I'll
meter
go
on
into
1 to 10.
7. I'll go to 7.
7?
I'll go 7 out of 10. But you're in the red.
Yeah.
And you hit 7, you're in the red. You're just starting to get that needle's just hitting the red. So
Well, this
I'd
is a
say code
big
red, but if every game they lose, it's going to be,
yeah.
it's going to be even higher there.
This is a big swing
What's
game.
your number?
This is a big swing game record wise. So, obviously the difference between 2-3 and 1-4 is huge. You're one game away from 500 if you're 2-3, and you're going to face the Bears on Thursday night, another bad football team. Bad.
Very winnable game. Yeah.
Very winnable game. You'd think, again, we can't call anything winnable with the way we've been playing.
No.
But, I'll put it at if we were to lose this game, we're talking about where our panic meter would be. And for me, that would be like an 8, 8.5. I think if we lose this game, and 10 being like complete code red,
well, I'm saying
situation.
We're at a 7 right now. If we lose, it's gonna move up.
Where are you at
That's
if we
that's
lose?
what I'm saying.
Just off top, really quick.
I don't know. I'm gonna give you that answer next week. Hopefully,
fair enough.
Hopefully,
fair
I won't
enough.
have to answer that.
So, in order to not answer that, let's talk about 3 things. We'll go over 3 things each real quick that need to pop. I got to admit, Tennessee Titans, not necessarily a marquee program in the NFL. They were the 1 seed in the AFC last year, but off to a pretty mediocre start. I know they have a pretty okay defensive line. Ryan Tannehill is kind of Carson Wentz in a Gucci belt, in
Game
my
manager, I
opinion.
guess.
Yeah, game manager on a good night. And obviously the headline there is going to be Derrick Henry. Um, how are we
Yeah.
feeling about the Tennessee Titans, and what do you think? Pop three things that need to pop in order to win that game. What do you think?
Well, first thing I'll say is, Derrick Henry is on my fantasy team. He's been an absolute stud. I'm going to do the emotional hedge. I'm going to leave him in, but I hope he sucks. I hope
Yeah,
we shut him down. I do think a strength of our team has been to stop the run, and like I mentioned, the D tackles. It's going to be tough because he's a special. Tough for any defense to stop him.
yeah. The
But
best you
I
can
think
hope to
that
do is contain.
that's
Really.
definitely one of the keys. Lead in, stopping the run, right?
Yep.
I think we've done a good job of that, but that's going to be key. I think that could really put the Titans at a disadvantage. I would say protect Wentz. Whether we protect him through play calling or he gets the ball out of his hands quick, or the O line just plays a lot better. They got to do a better job protecting Wentz so he can build some confidence and he could sling that ball downfield. And I'm going to change it up a little bit. It'd be easy to say establish the run game, but I'm going to say it a little different. I'll say get the ball to our playmakers, right? Do a better job early on. We were doing a really good job getting it to Curtis Samuel. We got it. We got to get Terry involved. Our tight ends have been missing in action for the most part, and definitely the running backs, right? Get them their carries, but let's see. The first game we were just blown away by AG and the passing game. Let's see more of that. So I
Yeah.
say get the ball to our playmakers.
Yep.
So
That's
just to recap it, for me, just so we cut it up later, protect Wentz is key. You could do that multiple ways. We got to stop the run, stop Derrick Henry and the Titans, and we got to get the ball to our playmakers. We got to spread that ball around, get it to
there
our
you go.
playmakers.
There you go. So I'm going to go a little bit. I agree with all of those keys. I'm going to go a little bit left from some of the stuff you've been saying, just for the sake of not repeating ourselves
Changing
over
it
and
up.
over again. Here's the bottom line: if the offensive line can't protect Wentz, we're going to lose, and we might lose every game for the rest of the year. We got to find a way to
Right.
protect Wentz, right? So I'm
Right.
not going to. I don't want to spend a key talking about that. What I do think that we need to do is we need to create some turnovers. Tannehill has been known to throw a duck. He's turnover prone. Let's take 2, 3, 4 interceptions. Let's take some picks from Tannehill, please. So I want to be positive on the turnover side. Definitely
That's a
take
great
some
one.
picks from Tannehill, shake
That's
his
a great one.
confidence. And I think St. Juice can do it. He's kind of waiting to break out. He's been good these last 2 weeks. Let's get him back on the outside. Let's get some interceptions. So that's one for me. Turnovers, pick off Tannehill. I want to see that. Shake his confidence. Two, I'm going to tie into that. I want a lot of pass rush this game. What do we have to lose? What do we have to lose? They don't have good wide receivers out in Tennessee that are going to torch us.
Yep.
Let's make Tannehill beat us. Make Tannehill go out there and play great, but send heat. We're either going to jam Henry up or we're going to get to Ryan Tannehill and he's going to make a mistake. So we should be blitzing. I want to see them rush 5 guys more often than 4. I want to see a lot of blitzing
Yep.
this week. Um, and
I
then
love it.
key number 3 for me is going to be getting the ball back to Curtis Samuel. I'm very biased because he's on my fantasy team, but I think he is the most electric player on this team by a country mile. And I think that in the quick game, if we get the ball to Samuel, we should treat him like Cooper Kupp. Like we should just feed him the ball as much. We should treat him like Debo Samuel. We should just
I
be
think
feeding
I
him the ball
like
as much as we can.
him and Terry,
Yeah,
right?
Terry
Like
too.
just feed them
Either
both. Feed
one.
them both.
I would
Yeah.
love to see Terry. I mean, we haven't
Yep.
seen much at all of Terry other than that first big touchdown pass in week 1. I would love to see both, but I think Curtis Samuel just has that yak ability, and maybe he's coming out of the backfield.
Agree.
I would love to see Samuel have 15, 16 touches this week.
Yeah.
So I'll do my quick recap. So I want to get some turnovers off of Ryan Tannehill. I want to pressure Ryan Tannehill, and I want to see the ball in Curtis Samuel's hands more often than not on the offensive side of the ball.
Great. I like the
That's where I'm
turnover
at.
one. That's excellent.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
excellent. You want to hear a funny little pop moment?
go for it.
So you know how you call Curtis Samuel Baby Debo at times?
Yeah, Diet Debo.
So I was like saying to myself, wow, that's pretty wild. Dominic says that, and both of their last names are Samuel. kind of hit me when I was watching the Monday night game last
Believe
night.
it or not, they're
First
not.
time I realized it.
I don't
First
say
time I
that.
realized that.
I don't say that because their names are both Samuel. Funnily enough, I say it because Curtis can come out
What
of the
a
backfield. He's great
what
after
a
the catch.
coincidence.
Are they related? Do we know? Like, could they be cousins?
You
Maybe
never
they're
know.
stepbrothers. Maybe.
There aren't that many Samuels in the league.
Maybe
Yeah.
they just became best friends. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. The Titans are kind of, I don't want to sound mean here because so are we, but kind of an unexciting football team, to be honest with you. So I don't think there's a ton for us to talk about in terms of like what to be worried about from them. Pretty one dimensional. We got to keep Derrick Henry
They're
from
better. I
going
mean,
for
at the
200
end of the
yards.
day, we've been doing our best not to devolve into there, but right now they're a better football team than we are.
Oh, by a
But it's
mile.
a very, very winnable game.
Yeah.
All I could say is that they're 2.5-point favorites. We're the home team. I mean, it's pretty much a toss up from a Vegas perspective.
Yeah.
But I just hope we get a win. It'd be great to get a win. It'd be great to kind of turn the tide a little bit, play well, get a W. That's what we're hoping for.
Yep.
So, be great.
Well, without further ado, let's shift away from our Commanders. I think it's about time. I think the people have been absolutely starved for it. Me and Pop, we were sitting around, we're talking. There's so much funny stuff that has happened in the last week with the NFL, and we're saying kind of like, hold on a second. Kickots of the week, it went the way of the dodo. It's completely gone. Kickots of the week is over. We haven't been doing kickots of the week. We're doing kickots of the game, but that doesn't cover, we're trying to talk about, being a little bit more positive, not being just so depressed about the team. That doesn't really cover us there because there are so many kickots moments on Sundays from the Commanders. So we said, let's bring it back and let's make it entertainment focused in relation to football, some funny off the field stuff or maybe some sports bloopers that happened throughout the week. So, you know what? It's so good to have it back. We're not going to do one this week. We're going to go over a few Kcots moments. And maybe if you guys like that, maybe we'll stick with it. Maybe there will be some weeks where there's just one, But for this week, there's been a couple of great ones. So let's what do you think? Do you want to start with Commanders or do you want to start away from Commanders?
You rattle them off however you want.
All right.
We're
already talking about Commanders. Let's start with Commanders really quick. I mean, for me, it was a great tweet by JP Finley where he basically outlined, he said something along the lines of like, I'll put the tweet up in here, something along the lines of like, if two crazy pictures are like, which picture makes you more upset, basically. And it's a picture of like Dan Snyder and Jerry Jones being super buddy before the Cowboys game. And then the picture on the left, which is the funnier one, because honestly, the Dan and Jerry thing I don't really care about, to be honest with you. But the picture on the left is the funny one, which is Andrew Norwell and Charles Leno Jr. in a loving embrace, hugging it out, blocking each other in the middle of a play. So
yeah, hopefully you can weave these pictures in as we're talking here. But
definitely,
no, that was funny, and we were exchanging text messages back and forth. The picture of the two of them. And we said, what were they saying to each other in that moment? And they just met. In the middle of a play. Have you ever seen two offensive linemen chest to chest like that?
Locked up
after the play.
They had both hands on each other. Like, it wasn't even like they bumped into each other. It was like clutching one another. Like, they had pads. Like, it was some crazy.
So Dominic and I had a text exchange, and we were just saying, like, what do you think they're saying to one another, right? We said, "I love you, bro. We got this. We can do this."
Words of encouragement.
Yeah. Do you need a hug, man? Man, let's just get the F out of here. This isn't going well, and then let me lead 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Maybe they were working on their post-game dance steps.
That's what Beamish has been saying all week, that they were doing the waltz back there. So we're working on that. Incredible. I said maybe the Drake and Josh, the hug me brother, maybe that was happening there. Brother. Yeah. So that was hilarious Commanders moment. Danny Boy and the Jerry Jones thing, like,
I think the thing that the picture is what it is, but what I think, the thing there is like the tweet.
Yeah.
which it said friends and rivals for 25 years, and they're shaking each other's hand, and it really like does disrespect the rivalry between the two teams,
Yeah, it's
right?
not a good
It's
look.
fine if they take a picture together, don't tweet it out from the teams, but that was calculated.
Yeah.
That's Danny giving a big fu to the league,
Yep.
because there's been reports about the owners are kind of, you know, there's more momentum and more owners wanting to get him out. And he said, "Look, here's me with the most popular owner in the league, or the most powerful owner in
Yeah.
the league. I don't know about popular." And it was a big fu to the league, and
Definitely.
that was very calculated. And I don't know, like, did Danny Boy like frost his tips on his hair there? Looks
There's
like he's
been
going for
yeah,
a new look.
there's been a whole deep investigation going on that on 106.7 The Fan. Just hop over to the Odyssey app and listen to it. They covered that already. I don't waste our time over here, but it does look pretty wild. So
Crazy.
there's that. Across the league, some pretty wild stuff. I mean, DK Metcalf almost deuced himself on the sideline. He almost That's just incredible. He had to get in the cart. So him and Lamar Jackson are in the all IBS Hall of Fame as far as I'm concerned. Those two.
Well, we've
Lamar
all
had
made
the
that walk. We've all made that
Oh
walk, and
man.
sometimes it does get pretty tough. But if you study the picture, right? So there's DK was pretty honest. There's the driver. There's
Yeah.
DK who's clenching his cheeks, just trying to make it to the
Sweating.
bathroom. What's
Yeah.
the third guy doing on the cart?
It's
What's
emotional
his job?
support. He's emotional support. You need that. You need that at a time like that. We've
I
been
don't know
there,
what
both.
this dude is. Why he's got to escort him like
Huh,
that? I have no idea.
look, man, you and I have
That's a
been that
job
third.
I don't want.
Well, we've been that third guy for each other multiple times throughout our lives. Pop, it's gonna be okay. We're almost to the Wendy's. We're gonna make it. Like you're gonna be all right. We ran into it. And DK, I think he tweeted something about like the clench walk wouldn't have made it or something like that. And it's just we've all been there. You're walking, and the closer you get to the bathroom, the worse it gets. So there's that. Of course, like I said, DK Metcalf, Lamar Jackson, all IBS Hall of Fame. You saw Lamar had to he had some cramping that he dealt with in that Monday night game against Baker and the Cleveland Browns a couple years ago. Lamar was taking a dump. I wish he would just come out and say it at this point. And DK Metcalf, obviously,
Hey, they're
IBS
human.
issues.
It
So yeah,
happens.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Maybe had a
More
cup of coffee before the game.
Hey, had a couple of espressos, it'll get to you, man. You got to get yourself
It
hyped
will.
up.
It will.
So yeah, I mean, those are some of the top kickouts moments of the week, I think. And without further ado, we got back to our old segment. Let's hit our new segment. Let's get into the bottom bets.
The
Let's
bottom
switch it
bets.
up.
Good week. Good week.
And now we're turning it around. The boys are turning it around. I was 4-1. You were 4-1 as well, right? And we
Yep,
split.
both 4-1. I was 4-0 going into the Monday night game. I thought I was gonna really turn it around, but you had a
Yep.
great pick there.
So I'm
Yeah,
6-4. You're 4-6, and shout out San Francisco defense. Absolutely came in clutch for me in fantasy football. Put up 21 points. Completely overtook my opponent. I ended up putting up. I won 147 to 140. So they went above and beyond what I needed. So to secure me my 3-1 record in the Fan Bam League.
following your fantasy team, the emotional roller coaster from when my team sucks to I've got the best team in the league. Roller
I went
coaster
so
with Dom.
just at the quick 30-second synopsis here. I went 0 RB this year. I was picking from number 5. So for all our fantasy nerds here, you'll know there weren't some great running backs available at that number 5 spot. Or I was picking at number 6. Sorry, Pop went at number 5. He took Henry right out from my nose. I didn't even have to make a decision. Took Jefferson, went wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. But now I got Rashad Penny and Brees Hall. So now my running back room is kind of tightening up. I got Jalen Waddle really late. So the boys are looking good. And hey, all I got to say
You got
at the
Swift too,
helm,
right?
no, I wish I had Swift. I wanted to get Swift
Uh,
when he went. At the helm of the whole team, my guy, Russell Wilson. And you know what? I said it wrong.
that's gonna be your
I said it
downfall.
wrong in the last episode. I want to get it right. Broncos country. Let's ride. And without further ado, in our bottom bets, let's ride along. I'm 6-4 going into the week. Pop 4-6.
Hey, I'll take it. I was 0-5 going into this week, so being 4-6 feels great.
Yep,
You know, if the Commanders were 4-6, we'd feel pretty good, right?
we could be looking at that. So feel better if they were 6-4. But
True.
we're looking at Thursday night. The Dolphins playing again on Thursday night. No Tua already. That was predetermined a long time ago. Prayers. He gets quick and speedy recovery. He gets better. But
Son, you're looking at the
I'm
wrong
looking at
list.
you attached
Last week's
you
list.
attached the recap list.
It's all good.
I was like,
Scroll
damn, they
up.
got the Dolphins on
Scroll up.
back-to-back Thursday nights. That's weird. So Thursday night, we got the Colts at Broncos. Broncos are getting 3 points there, -3. Or sorry, Colts are getting 3 points. Broncos 3-point favorites. Pop, what do you got there?
As much as I hate to say it, I got to go Broncos. The Colts are just kind of coming apart.
Yes, sir.
They're falling apart there. Look, I want to come back to that. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Broncos Nation or Broncos Country, Cats, man. This Broncos Nation crap. Broncos Country, let's ride. I'm taking my boys. Russ Wilson back in prime form. Broncos are winning that one. Sunday morning, Giants, Packers, all the way out in London. Packers are 8-point favorites. Pop, what do you think?
Ooh, man. That 8 points is really tough, right?
Yeah.
I think the Packers win, but the Giants cover.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. So on paper, I'm taking the Giants here. Actually, you know what? I'm going Green Bay. I think we're due for an Aaron Rodgers meltdown here.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Green Bay. Last week,
not a meltdown, but a
meltdown on New York. I'm not going to take the NFC East team. And last week, I took the Jaguars to beat Philly, and Philly was 6.5-point favorites, and that burnt me. So I'm going to learn from my mistakes. We're moving forward. I'm taking the Packers at -8. I already feel terrible about that choice, but I've locked it in. There's no going back now. Sunday, again, we've got the Cowboys at the Rams. Rams 4.5-point favorites. Pop, go ahead.
Rams.
I'm going to go with the boys, man. I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
You said you weren't going to pick an NFC East team.
I know, and then I saw you had another one in the lineup right down. And this is just this 4.5 points thing, man. I think the Rams are frauds, to be honest with you. And
I think they're still a really good team. I think you're too quick to hop on and off the bandwagon. So
I don't think they're as good as they were last year. I think they caught.
But I don't think the Cowboys are as good as they appear either, especially with Cooper Rush at quarterback. So I just think the Rams are a better team.
Maybe we'll see. That could be the return of Dak. We'll have to wait and see. I think he's still questionable as of right now. And then we got the Sunday night game, Bengals at Ravens, -3. Bet the over. If that's a discussion, definitely take the over in that game. Pop, what do you think?
Bengals.
I am going to take Baltimore. Baltimore covered me last week. I'm going to take them again this week. I like the Ravens. I kind of wish I put some money down on a Ravens Super Bowl pick this year. That's a good football team. That's a really good football team, as much as it pains me to say something.
They are, but their defense is one of the worst in the league right now.
Defense is a liability.
They're giving up a lot of points, and I think that I'm just kind of looking at 3 points there, and I just feel like from a momentum perspective, the momentum's a little bit more on the Bengals side right now. So
defense is a liability, but they've been able to run the ball so well, and they basically just played possession against Buffalo, and they were in position to win that game. So I got them. I'm also not particularly impressed with Cincinnati this year. So 3 points, I'll take the Ravens. And then Monday night, Raiders and Chiefs. Chiefs are 7-point favorites there. Pop, this is probably an easy one, right?
Chiefs.
Yeah, that's a lock. Chiefs. I'm taking Kansas City as well. Speaking of Super Bowl, we both picked them to win the Super Bowl, and I could not feel better about that pick.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game, and the Raiders haven't been, they got their first win, and I just feel like the Chiefs are going to stomp them.
Yep.
It's just prime time, Mahomes. I think they're just going to put it on them, and opposite of kind of what I said. So it's a juicy week. We got 3 games we picked differently.
Yeah, so this is an opportunity
for you to – Cream's going to rise to the top this week.
It's an opportunity for you to get back in it. I flip flopped on that Giants pick, but I hope that doesn't come back to bite me. It usually does when I flip flop like that, but I'm taking the pack. I like it.
I mean, the reason why Vegas knows what they're doing. These bets are tough because that line is right on that border where
Yeah,
you could go,
yeah.
where you can go either way, right?
Oh,
So
if it was Packers
yeah,
minus 6.5, you wouldn't even think about it, right? But it's
I
the
would have
fact
picked the
that it's got to
Packers
be a
too.
touchdown and then some that makes you
Right.
feel a little bit
I
weird
just
about
feel like it's in England. Are you going to get up at 6:30 a.m. to watch that game?
it. Hell no. I'm gonna I'm gonna
That game
wake
will
up.
be over before you're awake.
Oh yeah, it'll. I'm not waking up before 9:30 on a Sunday on one of my 2 days off. Are you kidding me? Absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah, I can't stand those London games. I wish they would stop that. But
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I don't love it either, to be honest. I think it's probably a pretty cool thing they're doing league wide, but I know the teams don't really love it. That's one of
yeah,
the reasons I thought it'd be a close game, just because it's not really a Packers home game. The two teams got to travel all the way out there.
yeah.
You know,
Do you know
I
if
think it's
Jones
going to be a
is?
tight game.
Is there any more news on whether Daniel Jones is going to go or not? Do you know about that?
I don't know.
Maybe
That
that's
could
why
be a
you took the
factor. You
Giants.
could have
Maybe
said
that's
something
why you
before
took
the
the
game.
Giants. Uh, Giants working on
No, if
TVs.
he wasn't going, I wouldn't take the Giants.
Well, as of 7 hours ago, according to Fox News, that's an interesting place to get my news from. Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor both suffer injuries, and Jake Fromm and AJ McCarron both visited the team on Tuesday today.
Can I change my
So
pick?
I'll give you a gimme if you want to switch to Green Bay. That's
No, it's all
fine.
right. I'll stick.
No, no,
I'll
no. If you
stick
want to
with it.
switch, hey, you didn't have
No,
the
I'll flip
information.
flop and then it'll be wrong and I'll be mad. So no, I'll stick with it.
Hey, man, he's on the Jake Fromm bandwagon. Maybe the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life, and I've been a
Oh
Commanders
my
fan.
god,
So,
I had no
uh,
idea. That explains why the Packers are such heavy favorites.
yeah,
Oh
that
well,
definitely explains the
it's
minus
my
eight.
bad. I didn't study.
Hey, man, I'm rolling with Green Bay. But who knows? I mean, Jake Fromm could be better than Aaron Rodgers any given Sunday, right? That's
Yeah,
why they play the games.
yeah.
So you never know. Just kidding. There's no way that's happening. So I'm already want to know on the week, but we'll cover it. We'll cover it next week.
That's why they play the games.
That's why they play the games, I guess. So hey,
Yeah,
hopefully we play the game. We get a win this weekend. Hail to the Commanders. Let's get it together. Big
yeah,
turnaround week
absolutely.
here. Big turnaround week. Without further ado, I've been Dom,
It's pop.
and thanks for another great weekend.